Welcome to the Wealth University podcast. I'm Sharriff2d. Today I'm here with
HustleTrev.
And we're going to be giving you all of our knowledge on the sales market, the remote job market, and just really everything we've learned about sales over the last few years. Maybe some of the lessons we've learned from going to college versus not going to college. And maybe we'll even talk about just the attention economy we're in, the creator economy, the digital economy. So let's get right into it. Trev, do you want to tell us a little bit about you?
So, man, I've been in sales for about 6 years in total, from high ticket, from SDR role, actually starting in corporate. So that's going to be a lot we actually talk about. You know, my corporate stint was short, you know what I mean? So I don't want to get too far into it because we could jump right into it. But really, you know, being able to use sales as a vehicle, you know, to take other steps in life and hopefully be able to share our game plan with y'all so you guys can really, you know, escape the rat race, be able to use these jobs to, you know, really leverage your next steps versus depending on it, you know, later on in life. So, yeah.
I love it. I've been in sales myself for, I'd say professionally now 6 years, but that stems back to always being an entrepreneur, even at the age of 5, at the age of 10, you know, cleaning mailboxes and running around the neighborhood with flyers. That's sales. I feel like life is sales. So yeah. But what do you think in terms of just the sales market in a whole, maybe the tech sales market? And some people have said the job market is dead. Some people say cold calling is dead.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
So one, I think sales is the one skill I feel like you need to build, whether you're an introvert, extrovert. You know, even for me, you know, you guys may see us, you know, talking and doing what we have to do is because for me, sales will never go anywhere. When you look at the biggest companies, they're still selling some way, shape, or form. You know what I mean? You still have Fortune 500 companies. Sometimes they might not be cold calling, but a lot of these VCs and these startups and the companies that we help people land roles for, you know, typically they have a lot of people who are, sales development reps and stuff like that. And these are $1 million companies who are paying people a good amount per month just to contact people to dial so they can make an end sale. So to answer your question about sales it's never going to go anywhere. I think it's a skill you need to develop. Whether you like it or not, you're going to use it. You're like, oh, I don't like talking to people, but if you write a book, you have to go sell it to people. You know what I mean?
100%. There's two things that I love you mentioned.
Yeah.
One, can an introvert work in sales? And in my opinion is hell yes. Because whoever listens more and talks less on a sales call, for example, is the one who makes the most money, is the one who does the best. People love to talk about themselves, and when you can ask really good open-ended questions and just actively listen, you will notice how much more people are inclined to do business with you, inclined to give you money, because if we're having a conversation and I'm asking you really good questions, you know, what are your goals this year? How do you see this fitting into those goals? And you're really able to talk and you get the sense that, hey, I'm actually interested. We form a connection.
Yeah.
You're going to want to do business with me. So I think introverts honestly do better in sales than the extroverted car salesman who as soon as you walk in the dealership, hey, what are you looking for? Hey, do you have a family? Hey, are you looking for a minivan? Do you have kids? Da-da-da-da-da-da.
That's a fact.
It's like, bro, chill. I'm not buying anything. I'm just looking around. That's what everyone says. So I think introverts, you definitely can do really good in sales. It's just overcoming that limiting belief.
Facts. And just hitting back on this question, you know, is it dead and things like that? Just ask yourself, you know, you're watching, you know, if you want to be something in life, you kind of want to at least mimic, you know what I mean? Do what the big guys are doing. And it's sales, you know what I'm saying?
Facts.
So I mean, from AI, well, AI is going to take it until that comes. People are selling AI, you know. So there's just so much opportunity in it. And whether, like you said, introvert, extrovert, whether you go work at McDonald's or a 6-figure tech company, you have to go through an interview process, which you're doing what?
Selling yourself.
Money. So,
like you mentioned, sales is everything. Even if you are 100% positive, there is nothing in my life, I don't work in anything related to sales. If you want to go out to eat, or maybe if you have a girlfriend, if you don't have a girlfriend, you're going to sell her on, hey, I want pizza tonight. This is why I want pizza. It tastes good. It's this. It's filling. It's got carbs. You're still doing sales. You may be selling her on, hey, I want to live in this apartment, or I want to live in this area, or maybe we should do this, go on a vacation here. You're still selling yourself on it. and you're selling other people on it.
Facts. And he just hit on another thing. If you don't, whether you don't like talking to people or X, Y, and Z, if it comes to whatever you're into, you know what I mean? You have to meet that person and what? Sell them on yourself. I'm a pretty cool vibe. I'm interested in this. We should go do that. If you know what I mean? So it's crazy how it actually impacts every part of our lives. So anyone, I mean, we've broken into so many realms. We've watched DoorDash drivers make the transition.
Yeah.
Warehouse, factory,
Yep.
you know what I mean? And even for me, like now people go to my page and they see, oh, sales. Like I didn't think about sales until I graduated college, you know what I mean? And for me, you know, making anything below 6 figures in this economy, you know, it's tough, especially when you want to be able to leverage it. And the only place that I can figure out that I can make a good base salary, and if I kill it and lock in on this, I can make a commission. So now there's really no ceiling over how much I can make versus drowning in debt and also being in a 45, 65K role with no commission at all. So
That's a really good point. A good base salary, you can make entry level $1,000 a week, and you love to say it a lot, where we've secured over $3 million in salaries for hundreds of people in total just last year alone. And we've been helping people, like Trev mentioned. We've taken people from DoorDash. We've taken people from the warehouse, from being a waiter, being a server. And a lot of people don't realize, what transferable skills do I have in a retail job? What transferable skills do I have as a DoorDasher? Well, one, you're commuting with business owners. Two, you're also communicating. So you've got B2B, you've got B2C because you're communicating with clients. You're also processing, you know, gross revenue or transaction volume as a DoorDasher. You're using critical thinking skills to make sure that you can locate the correct address. You're dropping it off to the correct address as well. There's a lot of skills that when you go through, you revamp your resume, you can break into these tech roles.
Facts. And another one, like you mentioned, the restaurant. When you're selling the meal of the day, the drink of the day, going through the menu. Even memorizing that menu is similar to memorizing a sales script. Like literally, you know what I mean? You're practicing and rehearsing, and they change the drinks and they change the menu depending on the holiday season and stuff like that. So again, you're subconsciously already building out all of these sales skills, where why not just go make a lot more money and use those things, you know what I mean, as, you know, different vehicles that do different things.
Facts. And something else that you mentioned a little bit is that these Fortune 500 companies, the biggest companies, need a sales team. Some people are scared and they might ask, is AI going to replace these sales jobs? Is AI going to replace all the tech jobs? In my opinion, and from my research, AI is going to replace the bottom people who aren't top performers in sales. AI is going to replace the people who aren't using AI to be more personalized in their messaging, to be more productive and more efficient in how they're reaching out to them. Maybe you've got, again, if we take someone who's doing door-to-door sales right now, yes, you're knocking on a bunch of doors, but how are you going to be able to compete with the salesperson who is not only cold calling, but they're using AI to maybe do a voicemail drop. And then they're using AI to scrape and pull the personalized info from someone's LinkedIn. And they're sending a personalized subject line that only HustleTrev would know, because I looked at his LinkedIn. I seen that he's got a degree. I seen that he's done over, 250K in sales. So I maybe say something so specific in that subject line where only he's going to open it. And now I've got 10 more opportunities in a fraction of the time than someone who's got to knock on each door, boom, take my notes, go to the next door, and you might risk your life if you if you knock on the wrong door and someone pulls out that pump, and I don't know.
Right, for only a commission, you know what I mean? So
yeah, no base pay either.
No base pay either. So I mean, man, he hit on so many different things. The door knocking, I mean, it not turns you into a savage though.
It does.
You know what I mean? We do if you can do that, I feel like you can be successful in any industry, especially, you know what I mean, tech sales. So, yeah, man. Man, you just dropped some gems right there.
I would argue the same with real estate sales too. And what people in real estate sales may not realize is you can work a software sales job and you can sell real estate. If you're working in software sales for one of these top tech companies, They're going to pay you a base salary anywhere from maybe $50K to, I've seen up to $120K.
Facts.
And on top of that, you'll get commissions. You're going to get full benefits, health insurance, dental insurance. And some of these companies will give you a free MacBook Pro. They'll pay for your Wi-Fi. They'll pay for your phone bill.
Yep.
And when do you think you call business owners? During business hours, Monday through Friday? When are you showing clients? Oh, your clients and your customers are off work during the evenings, on the weekends. I think you can do both. So we've helped a lot of real estate agents. I'm a former real estate agent. And the transferable skills go so well together.
They do.
You can make a lot of money in the tech space.
Yeah. It's a ton. What we've hit on, real estate, warehouse, restaurant, Uber. I mean, everybody's really welcome.
Everybody.
To be honest. If we haven't mentioned your industry, we even meet a lot of actually entrepreneurs. You know what I mean? I feel like that's a great one just because when you do go start this business, whether it's marketing, media, drop shipping, all these other companies, you know what I mean? You got to have income coming in, you know what I mean? And then also you do have to master sales at a certain point.
100%.
So what they do is they get a tech sales role so you can actually still, you know what I mean, chase your passion, but now you have a guaranteed income coming in when those months are slow. So
also, when those months are slow and say you're an entrepreneur and you have your own business, but you're also working for one of these top software companies, you can then take the money from your business and actually reinvest it into your business because you don't need to live off of it. You have a base salary coming from one of these top tech companies. It's a game changer.
Yep, facts. Because the slow days are going to come. You know what I mean? That's what people don't realize. But, you know, it's also worth it. You know what I mean? You know, taking those leaps. But like I said, tech sales, you got the freedom. You like trading. There's another one. You know what I mean? Everyone's like, oh, I don't have enough money to start trading or doing all these things. Well, you work in front of a computer. You know what you do? You kill it. You lock in, get your calls done, pull up that other window, you make some trades. We've both done it before, you know. So a lot of things we talk about, we've also done as well. So like I said, sports betting, all of these top things everyone wants to do, why not just build out your income through tech sales? Because you were going to get into unlimited PTO and all those different things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just opportunity, man. So
mentioning if unlimited PTO is a scam, in my opinion, I don't think it's a scam at all. What do you think coming from, you've been on the corporate side, you've also been on the entrepreneur side. There's jobs that have set amount of paid time off where you have to take these days. And if you do quit, if you do leave, you get paid out. But what happens when you run out of unlimited PTO? What happens if you get sick?
Right.
What do you do?
So, I mean, if you're talking about unlimited PTO versus just like, let's say you're in person and you have like what they literally only give you, some people have like 100 hours of paid vacation or something like that. And you have to put in months and months ahead. So I feel like the flexibility in tech sales and unlimited PTO, I feel like it's a lot better just because
100%.
Sometimes if you're good enough at your job, you might not have to take PTO. You know what I mean? If you're still going in your meetings, still hitting your call volume, you know, little things like that. We don't even sometimes have to report, like as long as you're, you know, still in the meetings on time and little things like that versus like at your job, you can't just, you call in sick the day before, all hell breaks loose in the workplace.
You might not have a job.
No, literally. You know what I mean? And so, I don't know, I think especially in the tech sales world, unlimited PTO, I mean, also though, sometimes these companies are a little more stiff with unlimited PTO versus, you know, you can go into that for sure because of how it changes. But sometimes they say unlimited PTO, but it's like, you know,
I agree.
You know the differences.
I've never had my unlimited paid time off request denied, but I've never requested 3 months. I've never requested 6 months. Typically, in these jobs that offer unlimited PTO, if it's in a tech sales role, you'll have a quota, which means my goal is to hit 8 meetings booked this month. Maybe I'm 10 days, 15 days in the month. I hit my goal. I book my 8 meetings. Now I can use my unlimited PTO a lot more freely where you won't get any pushback from your managers or anyone else because you already did your job. Your calls have been done. Now you can go take off 2 weeks and then you can come back the next month, refresh. there are times where I have seen people, maybe they talk about it in advance and it's like, I've been hitting my numbers for a while. Yeah, I'm going to take a month off.
Right.
I'm going to go tour Europe, or I'm going to go to East Asia. And that's just the relationship that you develop with your manager. That is something we can go into as well. I believe a manager will make or break your role. The product market fit of the company will make or break your role, and also the quota attainment. Those are the three things I think are the most important you should look for in every sales role, and honestly, every role, every job that you're going to work.
Yeah, no, I agree. And then also, you know, you get to measure, like you said, I feel like we can dive a little bit deeper too in like what you're selling and understanding like the company, because the shelf life does matter. You know what I mean? Like trying to get into maybe, okay, you see AIs on the merge and things like that, trying to break into those types of companies versus, you know, what's one of the worst offers you think you've seen?
One of the worst offers that I've seen, I'll go into something that's the 310s.
Yeah.
So the 310s is a sales methodology from Jordan Belfort. And for you to be able to successfully sell something, you got to have 10 out of 10 confidence facts in one, the product that you're selling, 10 out of 10 confidence in you being sharp as a tack as a salesperson, and 10 out of 10 confidence in the brand that's behind it. So for an example, if we were to take Balenciaga, and a couple years ago, there was a lot of pushback, a lot of cancellation. You could be the best sales rep in the world. You have the best gift of gab, the best yap, and you can have the best quality. Like Balenciaga, something is nice. Like you really put it on. But if your brand is getting canceled, or maybe your offer is getting canceled, maybe your offer is like Ozempic. You know, if you have a bad offer or you have a bad brand, doesn't matter who you are as a sales rep. So that was one of the times where I seen they lost a lot of good salespeople because they just couldn't push their product.
Facts.
And it was all behind the branding.
Yeah, that was money. Yeah, that was a good one. So especially when you get in the tech sales space, you know, you definitely want to evaluate these companies. You know what I mean? And also, you know, if you feel like it's a product or it's a brand that is a hard sell for you, I would feel like just, you know, keep taking your time and pick the right one. Because oftentimes a lot of people just jump in it. Because it's also a mentality. You know what I mean? You know, because now I'm gonna be a caveat to it. Because at the same time, there's so much opportunity in it, and there's so much money in it. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm going to attack any offer, even if it was the world's worst offer.
Facts.
You know what I mean? I'm going to figure out how to sell it. You know what I mean? I'm going to sell salt to a snail if I have to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so I feel like, especially if you're like, well, I need experience. You know what I mean? Do you want to keep pulling up and dropping off DoorDash? Do you want to keep checking into the warehouse where you're dealing with a manager who be over your neck and you already done worked 15 hours, 60-hour weeks? You know what I mean? And so for me, honestly, it didn't matter if it made a little bit of sense and I got any opportunity, I was going to go excel. So now, guess what? I can add that existing opportunity to our resume and then go shopping and go get some more money. So, you know, I feel like also, I think your approach also matters too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just because there's so much opportunity in it, you can't be picky. That's how life is. You know what I mean? You've been praying for a blessing and God's like, okay, here it is. And you're like, well, I don't want to sell. No.
Yeah.
You know,
that's a really good point too. I want to hit on two things that you mentioned. First is, from my experience working in a warehouse and me wanting to not have to go to Amazon at 3 a.m. And not get written up for having my AirPods in and not getting written up for having my hood on when I'm packing boxes in these trucks in the middle of December. I wanted to get out so bad that, like Trev said, I not only used the transferable skills that I was learning, you know, maybe I'm improving my scan rate by, 50 boxes per hour, something like that. And you put the metrics on your resume and then you confidently speak on it because you have that approach where any opportunity I get is a blessing from God. It will change the game for you. Not only that, but when I was in the warehouse, inside of those AirPods that I was getting written up for, I was listening to podcasts like this. I was listening to audiobooks like The Way of the Wolf. I was fully immersed in the thought and the idea that, hey, maybe while I'm in this warehouse, I'm not meant to be in this warehouse forever.
Yeah.
So using that as a stepping stone, because I wanted to have my location freedom. When we see money's printed out of thin air, a new $80 billion trillion sent to Ukraine, or, you know, 100 trillion sent to Israel. If money's being printed out of thin air and we're trading not only our time, our energy and attention, but our physical location, at the least, you should want to be able to make money online, make money from a computer, so that you're more free in this digital world that we live in, because we're all so connected with TikTok, with Instagram, with YouTube at once. It's never been like this before.
Never. And I mean, I feel like you can direct that right into just having a college degree. Like, that was something we were going to talk about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, with him mentioning, obviously there's opportunity everywhere you go. Like, when you're strolling TikTok, someone is selling a product, or you see some type of, it's never been easier, you know what I mean? But also it's never been harder for people with college degrees, you know, all of the, I feel like, I feel like it was like an older way of thinking. You know what I mean?
100%.
Because if our grandparents would have got college degrees, because mine didn't even go, mine barely graduated high school. You know what I mean?
Same.
Just due to the timing and stuff like that. And, you know, so for them, the kids who did get a college degree but now, you know what I mean? I feel like they figured out a way to, let's make more employees so we can make more money. I feel like that's where
100%.
the school system kind of transitioned. You know what I mean? Even when you think about accepting $20,000, $30,000 loan at 18, I think that's really crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Insane.
Like, you know, you're afraid of sales, but if you went to college, you got sold a dream literally immediately when you decided to go to college. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was in the same seat. I played college football, but at the same time, I still needed more financial aid because, you know what I mean? And I'm sitting here like, hold on, an unsubsidized loan versus subsidized loan. How am I supposed to know what that is? But I'm sitting in a chair in the admission office, already signed to play football. What am I going to do? Say no? No. You're going to sign that dotted line, and really you're signing up for a 10,
360
15,
deal.
20 year, literally a 360 deal. You know what I mean? It's going to take 30 years to pay off. You know what I mean? So,
and that's something you can't, if you go bankrupt, the college debt doesn't leave you either.
It's a mortgage.
Yeah,
like,
literally. Mortgage with no property. What people should ask is, why am I in college? Is it because of the social construct, the societal norms? Yeah. Is it just because my parents want me to go? Is it because maybe I don't know what I want to do?
And that's a big one. That's about 90% of it. When I talk to even other athletes, like, some people didn't, like, you know what I mean? The NFL, NBA, female sports is like 0.02%, you know what I mean, after college. So most people literally use it as, well, my parents wanted me to go to school. Like I said, it's a good vehicle, but you still have to make sure you're using your time wisely. That's really what it comes down to. Because I took 4 more years and then you get a communications degree. I got a business management degree, minor in econ. You know what I mean? And immediately, my first job offer was like $50K in benefits. And I did $250,000 in sales for this company, right? And it was like, you can work your way up, stay here for 4 years. You know, they gave you the runaround. And then that's how I got in tech sales. But back to, you know, a college degree, it's just like, either if you go to college, make sure you're wise with your time. Make sure you're going to shake hands. Make sure you're going to networking events. Don't be too cool. You know what I mean? Like, there are boosters on the sideline who are spending thousands of dollars into these programs. You know what I mean? And you don't go meet none of them. I was in that boat. You know what I mean? I kind of caught drift late, but I still started going to these little alumni events and all these things. And I was at a smaller D2 school. You know what I mean? So it's crazy how no matter where you fell in the spectrum, when you don't make it, we all fall in the same boat. You know what I mean? Speaking of things that also transition into tech sales, a lot of us ex-college athletes and things like that go into what? Personal training. We go into security because, you know, we're bigger guys. You know, just little things like that. And those are the worst paying jobs right there. Club promoting, that's dead because they just use influencers now with actual followings.
Yep.
So, I mean, there's really no gateway, but you do have discipline. You do have a sense of showing up. You do have a sense of getting knocked down and getting back up. That's just like door knocking, just like sales. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Having that never give up mentality. Having that, you know, I can clean up my lead flow and being disciplined because you had to be at weights at a certain time. You had to be at class at a certain time. Not only did you have to be in class, but you had to somehow pass.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We did achieve a degree in a certain low. So, and then you end up at Amazon. And I'm not saying these things to feel like dang, that we're never talking down because we all did it. You know what I mean? We've
Facts.
all had these entry-level jobs, warehouse, all those things. We've done it. We like money. You know what I'm saying? I was doing everything. I was wiping tables in college, doing whatever I could to get the little stripe and check on top of that pre-NIL and all those things. You know what I mean? So don't let that be the reason why you do go to college. Also, you have $50,000 plus in debt. You know what I mean? And you're going to go make $60K a year. By the time you pay your bills, you have literally not enough money to, you only pay down the interest. Your first 10 years of paying down your student loans, it's just interest. You just got through the interest.
It's insane.
And that's if you made every payment on time. So that's saying you did find a financially stable job after college, which we all know.
It's tough.
That's
tough. This job market is tough.
Right? So.
Yeah, you mentioned it, so important, being intentional with your time while you're in college, wherever you're at today, because opportunities don't last forever. There's people I've talked with that have the mindset, oh, I've got 4 years. I could just chill. Yeah. I don't want to be stressed. I don't have to worry about it. I'm blessed. Maybe, my college was paid for the 2 years I went before I dropped out. Maybe you're in the same boat where maybe you do have a grant, maybe your parents are paying for it. But again, you have no choice but to be intentional with the time because opportunities don't last forever.
Yeah.
If you think, well, in 4 years, I'm going to use my degree and I'm going to go get a data entry job. If you thought about that, by the time you would have graduated, AI already took that job over. Or maybe you had a minor in econ, major in business, and you were thinking, I'm going to go, once I'm out of college, make a super viral product. And maybe you thought about fidget spinners. Well, if you didn't graduate before 2017 and you weren't already in the place to start that company, if you didn't start on that today and you just waited, I've got time, 4 years, I'm going to start it, you missed the boat. So I think that's why whatever you're doing, you have to be super intentional with your time. And like you said, whether it's just picking up a side hustle, but I would say leveraging your time by making money online is the best decision you can do. It's really the only decision that you have, because if not, eventually you're going to just get stuck and be stagnant.
And it's crazy. It's just like, and speaking of how, like you were saying, opportunity doesn't last, we literally watched, just to wrap up the college piece, we watched a college degree lose its value over time. At first, you were a gold member. Oh, he went to Harvard, he went to Yale, he went to, you know what I mean? You got people working at these places and graduated from these top schools literally working at the bar. Like, because they're like, well, I can make more money there low key than a corporate job.
100%.
You know what I mean? So literally what we just said, how, tech sales, something that we're great at, something that we do. Like he mentioned earlier, $3 million in salaries last year, because, even when we talk to people on the phone, we're still, you know what I mean, rocking out on sales calls ourselves. We're still in the field, so we're not just saying get on calls, and we're not, you know what I mean, perfecting our craft as well. But even in that, people are like, well, is it dead or is it, how much opportunity? Like, well, right now it's a blue ocean, but just like anything else, just like that college degree, it all meets in the middle. You know what I mean? So
that ocean dries up.
Yeah, exactly. So
that's really key. And speaking on that, which goes into the next point of like content creation, should you be putting yourself out there? If TikTok gets banned, will TikTok not still be here? Will people like us have to get a regular job? Even though really we know sales, so we don't need anything in terms of that. But what are your thoughts on, should the average person be creating content? Should they just put the fries in the bag instead because TikTok's going to get banned?
I can't even hold it in. Y'all see me about over here. Like, I can't even hold it in because it's like there's so much opportunity, bro. You know what I mean? Okay, if TikTok does get banned, you know what I mean? We got YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. In Instagram, you got live posts and shorts. On YouTube, you have shorts and long form content.
Yep.
On Facebook, you have your regular status, Facebook groups, Facebook lives, and Facebook. If you really just broke down in sequence, then you have Twitch. So the average person too should definitely be making content, because now we're seeing a lot of average people take over the content creation world. At first, it was like, think about it. At first, it was what? You had to be super pretty, super special. There was the perfection community,
Yep.
you know, all the fake body
Looks
community,
maxing.
all those things. And again, you know, clip that. We're not saying nothing about that. Whatever you love, whatever you want to do, you do. But I'm saying at one point, it was perfection. That's why people were so afraid to post. I had to be this fit. I have to have a six-pack. I got to do all this. Now, you have moms with kids taking over the platform, just filming their kids doing their day-to-day life, day-to-day duties, because now you can relate with people.
100%. That
You know what I mean?
authenticity, the relatability, and showing the journey, the storytelling is really what people are interested in. I feel like we're in a trust recession.
Yeah.
Online, you see
That's a
different
good
people
one. That's
scamming,
fire.
and you really
Trust recession.
just need to show whether it's my weight loss journey or day one of starting my business. And when we talk about content creation, you don't have to book out a podcast studio, get in front of the mic, get in front of the camera like us. A lot of people don't realize how much opportunity there is in being a clipper. So for these streamers like Kai Cenat, T Banks, there's bald kickboxers who are streamers.
Bro,
there's
facts.
plenty of top streamers who, if you just clip their content and posted those short form videos, you can make $5,000 to $10,000 a month. But outside of that, there's also community moderators. There's people who just do the email for communities. There's people who just do the appointment setting. Maybe it's just answering DMs. Maybe it's answering tickets. Instead of going to try and find that help desk job that you thought you were going to get when you graduated in 4 years, which is no longer there because AI will do it, and AI won't ask for a sick day. It won't ask to use its unlimited PTO.
Facts.
You can instead do those same help desk jobs or those admin jobs or those customer success jobs for one of these top content creators.
Yeah.
And those sales skills, those customer service skills you build, again, are going to be transferable anywhere. And I like what you said where it used to be, hey, I went to Harvard or hey, I went to Yale. Now, in these job interviews, these companies care about what have you done? What experience do you have? Thank you. What are your metrics? What are your KPIs? What are your numbers?
That's it.
You hit it right on the dot.
Yeah, bro. Yeah. No, that was fire. That was fire. And you had mentioned, what was that last thing you had it was right before we had gotten to the Harvard and the Yales, the jobs. Basically what I was saying, well, content creation. You know what I mean? Yeah, the opportunity there is just basically he was mentioning there's no excuse. Like that's 100%. What he's saying. Like whether you do want to get in front of the camera or like you said, you're clipping other people's content. You're doing drop shipping and all these other things where you don't have to show your face. You're just putting the product in front of the camera. You know what I mean? And you're going viral. And you're like, well, hey, how do I get viral ideas? You go, you stroll, you see something that went for 1 million views. You know what I mean? That's what we're learning to do ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Free gym for other business owners. And it's already been done. We're trying to reinvent the wheel, you know? So basically, you know, there's no excuse whether you want to be in front of the camera or you don't. So there's no way. There's no way we're going back to putting fries in the bag. No way. If you do, you're not acknowledging all the opportunity around you, and you're not letting it flow. You're in a closed mind state. You know what I mean? Because, like you just mentioned, whether you want to be in front of YouTube automation, creating rain videos, you have another using AI.
Using AI to generate the faceless content, like you said. Maybe you're trying to sleep at night and you're going on YouTube and you want to listen to some rain sounds or some like ASMR. And where do you think all the ad revenue goes to? Where do you think all the money that YouTube's paying? Who do you think it goes to? There's no face behind it. You're not clicking on HustleTrev's rain sounds or you're not clicking on Sharriff2d's rain sounds. It's just rain sounds. There's a person behind that channel who probably has 10 other channels. He probably has a lo-fi jazz, hip hop, where he's got a study vibe music. He might have a classical music, or it could be a she. She might have matcha coffee lounge type of vibe where you click on it, it's live stream, and there's a whole freaking YouTube channel of 100 different videos, and that person behind it is getting paid recurring revenue every single month just from you listening to it.
Facts.
And I think it's what you said where it's almost in a sense a little bit lazy if you think that there aren't opportunities when maybe the limiting beliefs are not allowing you to go and find those opportunities.
Facts.
Because when we've talked about this digital economy, the new economy we're in, you get paid for the value that you provide to the marketplace. That's why sales jobs get base salary and commissions on top, because they're directly attached to new money coming into that business.
Yeah.
That's also why a janitor may not be paid as much, even though they're working very, very hard. They're working the most, but they can't provide that much value to the marketplace because they can only be sweeping or mopping in one building at one time, compared to if you run a cleaning service.
Yeah.
Now you can be sweeping and mopping, even though it's outsourced and leveraged to multiple people at multiple times in one place, and you're providing more value. So that's really the question I started with. What value can I provide to the marketplace? What skills do I have? And maybe you have to work for free for a month, and then you gain that experience. Then you update your resume. You put numbers, you put metrics, you use the social proof. Yeah, I worked with Trev before, his floors, they were a little dirty. We came in, we mopped his floors every day, 12 o'clock on the dot. And now I'm going to go to the business right next door. I'm going to show them, hey, have you seen their floors? Your floors is a little dusty. Hey, I'd love to just mop for free for a month. If you like it, now you've got a 12-month contract at 2 businesses. You keep that up, maybe you're doing all the cleaning for all the businesses. And that's just one example. If you're doing brick and mortar, in-person, physical location business, now imagine you're doing this with online skills, and you can leverage that to the global market. And with crypto, you can get paid, or you can pay anyone anywhere in the world at any time. And there's no, hey, it's going to take 2 business days to send, or I got to make sure it's okay with my bank and they want you to send your ID, or I can't send money because I'm in the US and you're in the Philippines. Crypto allows anyone to work with anyone and get value in the marketplace.
Crypto is a whole nother, crypto is a whole nother beast. But yeah, man, so much opportunity. Like, he just listed from just the tech sales to the janitor to, and you see how they're all relatively, connected. So I feel like when you combine mindset and you combine, discipline, habit, it's limitless. Honestly.
So something else I want to touch on, being that you're a former college athlete and you're in sales, you have been, your own business owner, you haven't had to have a corporate job, but even though you've put more time and attention into those things, you also haven't slacked on your physical routine. You haven't slacked on your fitness. How are you able to get it all done? What are some of the hacks that you use? What are some of the tips that you would give to be able to still be in good physical condition? Because we only have one body. And how you do one thing is how you do everything. What would you say?
So I would definitely say, especially, being a former college athlete, it's like one or two things happen to you. You either fall off the deep end because you were just working so hard for so long, and I feel like there's just like a survivor's remorse, like you didn't really go as far as you wanted to go. So then you just kind of you just fall off, bro. You're like, nah, I'll give you whatever I want. Like, you were so disciplined, you know what I mean? It's kind of like having a habit, and it's like retracting, you know what I mean? It's like being like, alcohol, fast food, drugs, they're all the same thing. Everyone has their own little addiction type deal. So I just feel like you were so disciplined for so long, you held off. And not only did you fall short of your goal, so now you're like, well, I can eat 12 donuts, or I'm not going to, I'll just go jog today and then work out. You went from working out every single day to working out 2 to 3 times a week. You know what I mean? Or you're just, it built out such a level of discipline for me. I was like, I couldn't peak at this. You know what I mean? Like, at this point, I was doing it for coaches. I was doing it for teammates. I was doing it for notoriety. I was doing it for my parents. I was doing it. Why can't I do it for me? You know what I'm saying? So I think that right there is like, that's where it also clicked for me. It's like, now I also have an opportunity to do it for myself. You know what I mean? You was doing it for the school. You was doing it for the scholarship, So, unfortunately, and then if you have been one of those people that fell off, I feel like even as humans, we all fall off, you know what I mean? To a certain extent. We love to clown celebrities and stuff like that, but they're already rich. I think it's funny when we say, oh, Lil Baby fell off or Gunna fell off. All these things that, did you fall on? Like, have you
Facts.
you know what I'm saying? Have you ever seen 6 figures? You know what I mean? So it's crazy. We spend, so that's going into something else, but that also happens to us as college athletes, as being some of the, top pedigree on campus. You know what I mean? Because as an athlete, you just get access to certain things a lot of others don't, but we don't take advantage of it. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, either you do. Sometimes, like I said, as humans, it's part of human nature. But for my tips to also just staying there and staying connected as an entrepreneur, it does get it gets stormy, just like anything else.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? There's going to be a storm. Just like school, there was a storm. You know what I'm saying? Football, when you're losing, you know what I'm saying? Y'all down 2 touchdowns at halftime. Like, you can't fold. Like, it's a storm. Down fourth quarter, 30 seconds left. Kobe Bryant, the best. All of the greats were created in storms. It's crazy how we just want an easy life. You know what I mean? But it's like those tough times is where the greats always stood out and overcame. You see what I'm saying? Going to a championship, having to play through broken fingers and having to learn to shoot with the other hand and all these little things. MJ winning the flu game, they created a pair of shoes after it because he wasn't supposed to play. He could have just stayed at home and, you know what I'm saying, healed up. So also when entrepreneurship comes with those same storms, I think having that sense of routine and going to the gym for me just gives me a healthy place to, this is going to be the hardest thing I do today. You know what I'm saying? Getting in the gym and trying to move these heavy weights, trying to challenge myself to continue like I was hitting those numbers in college, why don't I hit them now? You know what I mean? And so, like I said, trying to move these weights at 4 a.m., 5 a.m. in the morning, cold calling for me is easy now. I'm sitting down, I'm chilling, I smell good, I'm in the shower. You know what I'm saying? I got some vibes 100%. Playing. I'm getting to the plays, we getting to the money. Like, okay, you say no, okay, next. Oh, you say no, okay, next. Boom, some fall through, 10,000, 5,000, 3,000. You know what I mean? Closing deals. So for me, it also is, because if you do think sales is hard, because we do sales all day, you know what I mean? My routine helps build momentum into my day, me personally. You know what I mean? So those 2 things right there is, one, it builds momentum into the day, especially if you're in sales or anything you do. Honestly, you just feel good after, you feel refreshed, and it's the hardest thing you do if you're pushing yourself. And then number 2, it's really, again, you were doing it all this time for other people. We only get one mind, one body, one soul. Why not give yourself the best shot at it? So
yeah, ask yourself, if you're living on autopilot,
facts.
Are you doing this because someone else told you to do it? Are you doing it because someone else made you think that it's the right thing to do? Are you doing it because someone else gave you some advice? Did the person who gave you the advice, are they someone you would want to trade places with? And you mentioned some of the GOATs in sports. Kobe, I don't know if he still holds the record for the most shots missed.
Facts.
LeBron, I don't know if he holds the record for the most shots missed.
Yeah. Tom Brady, most interceptions, but the greatest QB ever.
Yes, I think it was like most interceptions in the Super Bowl, or most interceptions in like the playoffs.
Yeah,
greatest QB ever, some of the greatest basketball players ever. You honestly aren't getting up enough shots. You're not throwing the ball enough. You're not trying enough. The more times that you try, the more times that you fail. And I think that comes right back into working out and being able to build that momentum. Is it gives you the resilience that it needs to be successful, but it's more I feel like it's more the mindset. Yes, you feel good after. It's the hardest thing in the day, and now it has you prepped to everything else I do in the day is a lot easier than that 1 mile I ran this morning. And you don't have to do a mile a day. You don't have to lift all the weights. Whatever it looks like. It could be, hey, today I'm going to do some deep stretching, and maybe it's only 25 push-ups, and I just do, the reverse walk on the incline on the treadmill for 10 minutes.
What's the stat? It's like a push-up stat, isn't it? It was like only like 90, it was like only 20% of men or something like that could do like 100 push-ups or something like that. Or like benching just 225 puts you in like the top 3%. I'm just saying, when you look at those small numbers, don't quote me if I'm wrong, but look it up. You know what I mean? As far as like the push-ups, the conditioning is not crazy. If you run every single day, if you just ran 1 mile or walked 1 mile every day of the week, Monday through Friday, you would be like in the top 10% of people who get physical activity. The average American barely makes it to the gym 2 to 3 times a week. I mean, it's crazy, bro.
It's very crazy. And you don't have to physically go to the gym.
Yeah.
If you have a house, maybe you're listening to this and you're probably scrolling, you've probably got Wi-Fi, maybe you've got some carpet, you can get on the carpet, stretch, do some sit-ups, do some push-ups,
jump rope.
Jump rope. jumping jacks.
Jumping jacks, yeah.
And get your whole workout in every single day.
Some of the most people is just straight
calisthenics. Yeah, bro, calisthenics. And you'll be in the best shape, and you'll honestly be stronger than some of these bodybuilders, but you also will be able to actually enjoy those movements more than if you're a bodybuilder and you can't turn your neck to like look around.
On top of that, you killing yourself with all the supplements and all the other stuff. You know what I mean? Fat burners, fat cutters, when you could just eat right, eat all whole food. You know what I mean? And like I said, we're not sitting up here trying to pitch the perfection at all. But what I will say is I feel like we've had success at a young age by being able to, you know what I mean, just be disciplined in, you know, certain areas, you know, and letting that convey, because it leaks into other things too. Like you said, it does come mindset, because there are days where you're not going to have it and you don't want to wake up and you don't want to go to the gym tonight because, oh, I had a long day. You know what I mean? You just have to go get it done.
Have to. And those are the times I feel like where you relieve the most stress, when you had a long day and it's like, I'm just going to put it all into the gym. And I'm telling you, you do that and you just make sure you hit the gym a day. It doesn't have to be the hardest workout, but you're consistent. That McDonald's, that medium fry made fresh tastes so much better. That Krispy Kreme donut, it tastes so much better when you're like, man, I did all my work today. I worked out. Yeah, I earned it. I'm proud of my day. I'm going to really enjoy this. It makes so much of a difference.
It does. It does, man. That's facts.
Yeah. There's something, too, I want to touch on when it comes to courses, and if courses are a scam, if mentorship's a scam, and what your thoughts on that, just in general.
So one, nothing is a scam. Even if you fell for a scam, you still could learn from it. So now you know how to pick better mentors or better programs. 9 times out of 10, if you got scammed, you didn't vet the offer enough. You didn't vet the person enough. You know what I mean? We try to build a lot of brand personability and like credibility through that, just so you guys can see, okay, we do have a program here. Oh, but look at us talking about sales. You can see we've been in it for a few years. You know what I mean? So even if you were, you can learn from that, so you pick the right program. But picking the right program and not trying to find the right one that fits is ultimately losing. You know what I'm saying? I like 100%. To use the broken car. Like when your car breaks down, you go to the wrong mechanic, you let your Uncle Julio, you know what I'm saying, get under the hood, and you're like, oh, and then it breaks down the street. You don't just be like, oh, chalk it up, let me go get a new car. No, now you got to call the next mechanic. They do it the right way. You got the right mechanic under the hood, and now you're back to going. You know what I mean? So it's just a lot of opportunity, and it's just a lot of, you know, you can't stop learning. You know what 100%. I mean? So,
I agree.
Question, yeah.
I've spent over $12,000 on courses myself. One example, I spent $3,000 on a course to be able to create a community to offer a solution for people. Yep. I chose to help people get hired into these tech sales roles. And for the cost of lunch on DoorDash, $50, we apply to jobs for people. But what I learned in that $3,000 course, honestly, I didn't use any of that in the offer and in the community and in the business I was running.
Yeah.
But 2 things, it forced me. I paid and I had to pay attention. So I made sure I did the work to make my money back. And 2, the network. Other serious people are in rooms that you can't get into because it's locked behind a paywall. So once I got in that community, I then found so many different business partners who were in the same space, who were working on the same things, who had the same mindset as me. That just gave me that extra push to be able to lock in and get to the bag harder, even when I could have considered the course a scam because I didn't actually use the quote unquote knowledge in it. But again, if you, like you said, nothing is an L, nothing is a loss. You take that knowledge and put it towards the next thing, you're always going to win.
Facts. I mean, that's just part of the game. And if you're not trying to, like I said, if you get knocked out and you're not trying to get back in it, then I mean, that's just going to be a hard lesson you learn in life.
That's definitely a tough lesson. You use the example of if your car's messed up, maybe, you know, you get cheated on. Yep. Is dating a scam?
Facts.
Are you never going to date anyone again?
Facts.
Or are you brush the dirt off your shoulders and
did you find
learn
the right
from your
person
mistake?
Anyways, exactly. That person wasn't meant to be. It's not all these other things. But yeah, that's literally part of life. And the better you get at it, I feel like the more success comes your way. You know what I mean? Even if you did, like you buying a course that you might have feel like you picked up certain skills, but maybe you didn't. But now you have built out like that ability to, You know what I mean? You put yourself, I feel like, in just a state where things are going to come to you. You know what I mean? Like, okay, I spent this money, might not have worked out, but the universe sees you're trying. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And then so something behind that, now came that job offer, or now came that right program, because now you know. So like, you overall, it's never no else. And yeah, just got to vet the program right.
Bro, I agree. The 2 L's makes a dub.
Right.
And I've seen it so many times. We talked about how we're helping people who are beginners get hired in tech sales, real estate agents get hired in tech sales, warehouse workers get hired in tech sales, DoorDashers get hired in tech sales, and also seasoned sales professionals in these companies double their salary. Maybe it's, stack multiple roles, whether it's really anything in a transition to tech sales. I think what's really important is, one, like we mentioned, for less than the cost of a meal on DoorDash, you can force yourself to pay attention because you're paying something. Right. And we have a team that would apply to these jobs for you. We also do 3 weekly group calls where we're coaching you on what to say on these interviews, how to not say a number first for salary, what questions do you ask. A lot of people show up to an interview, I want the job, but they don't have 20 questions ready to ask because you didn't do research on the company.
Facts.
You didn't research your recruiter, and you really don't know why you want to work there outside of the fact that you want to collect a paycheck.
Yep.
So again, how are you going to sell yourself to that company, especially if you've never done it before? Why not join a community where you can learn from not only someone who's done it maybe a couple years ago, but when you get in that community, there's people around you who maybe this guy started 30 days ago, or maybe this girl started 2 weeks ago. And if you're trying to follow their footsteps in the snow, is it going to be easier to follow footsteps who just happened 2 weeks ago, or footsteps that happened 2 years ago?
Facts. And just even to clear the air on that, we're not another boot camp. We're not another certification. The main difference from us and a lot of other people who are beneficial is we're going to secure the role, right? We guarantee that you're accepting the job offer. And everything that he also mentioned in our community, it's not so I got to do all this extra coursework and stuff like that. No, it's a ton of resources, and it's a crutch to make sure you're 1,000% successful when you take these steps into a tech sales role. So,
yeah, just the fact that we apply to up to 30 jobs a day, every single day, it goes back to the point we talked about consistency. Yep. How you do one thing is how you do everything. And that momentum, little by little, builds up each day. And 30 jobs a day may sound like, wow, I don't even know if I could do that many interviews from the applications I get. But again, you also are being sold to by that company on why they're the best opportunity, why you should come work for them. And as you continue to build up your transferable skills and you keep doing interviews and you learn something in this interview and you get asked a question about your KPIs that you don't know in that one. Yep. And then you record this interview and you see how many times you said how many times you said how many times you stuttered. Thanks. You're then going to be able to learn all of that and get the position you are looking for that, pays 6 figures and gives you that unlimited PTO where you can freely use it, and there's a 90% quota attainment so that you don't have to worry about getting let go, getting put on a PIP, a performance improvement plan, because you thoroughly did your research and you got the reps in.
Facts. Hey, I feel like you covered it all. I mean, we covered it all. Like I said, for us, you're going to be accepting that job offer. That's the key difference. We do all the work to prepare you guys, because when it comes to, getting on those wrong ships, things like that, like I said, a lot of things are boot camps, certifications, and all these things when the whole time you guys already have the skills you guys need already 100%. Built out. You know what I mean? You just need the right guidance and the right team behind you.
100%. You just need the right team that already has the resume template that's going to pitch your transferable skills in numbers and metrics on the new resume, same day, send it to 30 jobs, and like you said, coach you through the whole process, not only until you secure your offer, but then how do I hit my quota? How do I make sure I'm on the plan and the path to get promoted? Yeah. That's something, again, we help with all of that. Yeah. It's insane that just in this digital economy, for the cost of lunch,
Yep.
the cost of gas. You step outside, you're spending $100 minimum, I feel like, in any city.
Minimum. And we got insurance. You know what I mean? We got insurance on the fact that sometimes, guess what? Maybe you don't reach your quota. Maybe these companies do have layoffs because they do run out of money, anything like that. You can also still depend on us to, now we can still add that experience. And then guess what? We can just go shopping again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The opportunity right now is endless.
Endless.
So
I feel like if not now, when?
if not now, when?
If you didn't start yesterday, today is really the only day that you have to get started.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you want to get to the positions where, like I said, that's how we've gotten to this company by Sharriff jumped right into real estate while working at Amazon full time. You know what I mean? Doing both, trying to leverage his skills. And out of both of them, he's made more money in tech sales than the average person with a college degree. You know what I mean? 2 degrees, 3 degrees. People are going to get their doctorates. I have 2 degrees, and we ended up in the same place. You know what I mean? Been able to earn multiple 6-figure incomes, being able to leverage and secure over $3 million in income for other people by, you know what I mean? Basically, be led by people who've actually done it before.
No, definitely. Be led by people who have done it before. And it kind of goes into the last point of just when you're looking for leaders. And it, for me, and I know for you too, I feel like faith comes into a part of it.
Big part.
We threw a bunch at the people who are listening.
Yeah.
Especially if you're listening this far in. Maybe you're anxious about it. One of the things I love from faith, from reading the Bible, from God is, one, if you put that on him, and also it says, don't be anxious for the next day, because every single day has its own struggles. So if you just focus on the action items that you can take today, what you can do today,
Facts.
maybe you send Sharriff2d a DM and you say tech. Maybe you send HustleTrev a DM and you want to get started just fixing your credit up.
Yeah.
How would you say just having faith has played a part into being able to just balance everything and manage everything?
It's the foundation of everything else. You know what I mean? And it's just like you mentioned a quote. It's one of those things like, faith of a mustard seed can move mountains. Like if that's the God have you seen a mustard seed? Like we couldn't, if I picked it up right now, you couldn't even see it in the camera. And that can move a mountain. And we talking about you can't get a tech job. We talking about you can't make some money. You know what I mean? Like that in the grand scheme of things is like the smallest, you know what I mean? We're talking about walking on water, a God that heals the sick. If you do believe that, and you know what I mean, it's like, and I'm still working on my faith every day. I'm strengthening my faith, you know what I mean? Trying to get better in it. That's just one thing though. It's like we take, when you ask how important it is, if you have that connection, when life gets hard, it's going to happen for everybody. It's just that one thing that, again, you've seen a mountain. We can't even lift nothing past 500 pounds is the world's strongest person. 500 pounds, we talking about moving a mountain. So if you keep that same concept in everything you do, you know what I mean, sky's the limit.
Sky's the limit. It's 100% the limit. And it dang near ties perfectly back into, as we're coming to the end, what you said at the start, where God has those blessings lined up for you. Thanks. And you can't, scruff your nose up and turn down, well, it's a $35K base offer when, you're coming from the warehouse. Maybe this is a good opportunity.
Overnight. Facts.
Yeah, maybe it's a good opportunity to now go remote. You can still interview. You can then find a better opportunity. You could add that experience to your resume. I think not looking down on any opportunities, not setting up any limiting beliefs, but just being open to let the universe work for you, let money flow in and out, and let the opportunities flow in and out.
Yep.
Like you mentioned, if God can move mountains, don't you think he has a lot more meant for you and in place for you if you're not where you want to be? You just have to show up. You got to do the work. You got to give him something to bless. One of the craziest stories that I like when is someone stranded in the middle of the ocean on an island, and he's like praying to God. He's like, please get me off this island, get me off this island. And like, what is the story? A boat comes by. Some dude is like, hey, I could help you. And the guy's like, no, God's got me.
Yep.
And then he moves. Another helicopter comes by. He's like, yo, jump on, jump on. He's like, God got me. And then the guy starves to death, and he's like, God, what happened? I thought you had me.
Yeah.
He's like, I gave you the opportunity for you to put your arm out and for you to put the work in. So I feel like that's the best place to start. Yeah. If you don't know what to do, at least ask yourself, am I on autopilot? What am I doing? And send us a DM. Maybe we can help. Maybe we can't. but at least you can say you tried and you can be proud of your day and do some push-ups too, I'd say.
Thanks. And like you said, man, don't miss that quick gym. You got to meet them halfway. That's basically what he's saying. You got to meet them halfway. That was the offer right there in front of him. From the boat to the helicopter. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing with that $30K job. That's God. God does not going, I want $1 million. He not going to come down here, open up the door one day, and the money's going to be there. It's going to come in things like that. You need that first job to meet that next person who's going to bless you in life with that next opportunity, which went from 30K to 80K, just like that. And then you met a team that wanted to create a project and an invention, and now you're a business, just like that, man. Monopoly effect.
Monopoly effect. I love it, bro.
Yeah, bro.
Well, shoot, they know where to find us.
Yep.
Anything else we should add?
Man, appreciate y'all coming on to the pod. It's going to be first of many.
Heck yeah.
First of many gyms. HustleTrev.
Sharriff2d. Send us a message. Any platform. We'll get back with you.
For sure.
Peace, y'all.
Peace.
Hey, that was lit.
Fire,
that was
bro.
super fire.
That was fire,
that was
bro.
Super fire.
Nice. Good
Thank
job,
you.
guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Heck yeah. First of many for sure. Let me grab this water.